All right, so your business is doing great. It's really thriving, and you're starting to get that itch. You're thinking bigger, a lot bigger. You're ready to go global. But, that next step can feel like this huge leap into the dark. So, how do you actually do it? How do you make that jump? Well, that's what we're going to break down today, the strategic choices you have for taking your company international.
And let me be clear, this isn't just some minor logistical detail. This is a huge deal. The way you choose to enter a new country for the very first time, it can literally define your entire international journey. It's going to dictate how much cash you have to put up, how much control you get to keep, and just how much risk you're willing to take on. You get this right, and you're setting yourself up for a win. But if you get it wrong, hoo boy, that can be a really, really costly mistake.
You know what? Let's make this super simple. I want you to think about it like you're moving to a brand new city. What's your plan? Are you going to build your absolute dream house from the ground up? Or maybe you'll just buy a home that's already built, ready to go. What about finding a local roommate to split the bills and show you around? Or hey, maybe you'll just rent an apartment for a little while, just to test the waters and see if you even like the neighborhood. See? Each of those paths has a totally different cost, a different level of commitment, and a different amount of control. Well, guess what? The exact same logic applies to your business. So, what are your options, really? What's in the toolkit? Well, it turns out there are 5 main strategies for breaking into a new market. Each one is a little different with its own pros and cons. Let's do a quick tour. Okay, first up is probably the one you've heard of, exporting. This is the most common place to start. All it means is you're selling your products directly to customers in another country. And usually you'll have a local distributor on the ground who handles all the tricky logistics. It's a great first step because it's super low risk. It lets you kind of dip your toe in the water, gauge the demand, and see if people actually want what you're selling, all before you have to make any huge, scary investments. Another option, you could let someone else do all the heavy lifting. That's where licensing or franchising comes in. Think of it like this. You're basically renting out your brand, your secret sauce, your tech to a local partner, and in return, you get a fee. The good news? It's really easy on your wallet. But, and this is a big but, here's the catch. You're handing over control of your brand's reputation to somebody else. That's a massive trade-off, and you really have to think about that. All right? But what if you want to be more involved? You don't want to just hand things off. Well, then you might look at a joint venture or a JV. This is where you actually partner up with a local company and you build something new together. The awesome part is you get their priceless on-the-ground know-how, and you get to split the costs and the risks. It's a real partnership. You both have skin in the game.
Now, what if speed is everything? Like you need to be in the market yesterday. In that case, an acquisition could be your ticket. You literally just buy an existing company that's already up and running in that market. Boom! It's the absolute fastest way to get instant market access, a built-in customer base, a whole team, the whole shebang. But, and you knew this was coming, that kind of speed comes at a steep price. This is often the most expensive way to go.
And finally, we have the ultimate commitment, the all-in strategy, a wholly owned subsidiary. Here, you're not partnering, you're not buying. Nope, you are building your own operation from scratch, from the ground up. The huge advantage, you get maximum absolute control over every single detail, your brand, your culture, everything. But it also means you're shouldering all the costs, all the risk, and yeah, it's going to take the most time. Okay, let's put it all together so you can see it side by side. This chart right here really lays out the fundamental trade-off we've been talking about. You see that clear pattern, right? As you move from left to right, as you demand more and more control, going from simple exporting all the way over to building your own subsidiary, look what happens. The investment you need and the risk you take on, they just climb right up along with it. It's a simple rule. More control always, always means more skin in the game. You can really boil this whole thing down to 2 polar opposites. On one end of the spectrum, you've got the wholly owned subsidiary. That's your castle. You're the king, you have total control, but you're also the one who has to defend it and pay for everything. On the complete other end, you've got licensing. That's like handing someone else the keys to a shop with your name over the door. Sure, it's super low risk for you, but you get almost no say in how they run the place. The right strategy for you is all about finding your perfect sweet spot somewhere on this balancing beam. So the big question is, how on earth do you choose? I mean, this can't just be a gut feeling, right? Thankfully, it doesn't have to be. There's actually a structured framework that can guide you to the right answer. So let's get practical and break down how you actually make this decision. To make the right call, you've got to weigh 5 key things.
You need to ask yourself some tough questions, like how much control is an absolute must-have for you? How much money can you realistically put into this? How fast do you need to get into this market? Is it a race? What's your real appetite for risk? And finally, what's the big picture here? What's the long-term vision? Are you building something that's meant to scale, or are you just trying to test things out?
And here's the most important part. Not all of these factors are created equal. They're not all worth 20%. For a lean startup that's bootstrapping, for example, minimizing the investment might be everything. But for a huge tech company in a fierce race with a competitor, speed to market could be the one thing that matters more than anything else. So you have to be the one to decide which of these criteria carries the most weight for your specific business in your specific situation. Look, it all comes down to a really simple 3-step process. Step 1, figure out what your key criteria are. Control, risk, speed, the whole list. Step 2, decide how important each one is. Weigh them according to your company's priorities. And finally, step 3, score each of the 5 options against your weighted criteria. When you're done, the option with the highest score, well, that's not just a lucky guess. That's the one that is the best strategic fit for you. Okay, so you've gone through the framework, you've done the math, and you've made your choice. Awesome. But the decision is just the starting line. Now comes the really hard part, actually making it happen. A successful launch isn't like flipping a switch. It's not a single event. It's a whole process, done in phases. You've always got to start with your homework, due diligence, to make sure the whole plan actually makes sense. From there, you get into the nitty-gritty of all the complex legal and regulatory stuff in the new country. Once you've got the green light on that, then you can formally set up your business or your partnership. It's only after all that crucial groundwork is done that you're actually ready for the big launch.
And once you're officially in the market, how do you even know if you made the right call? Well, you measure everything. You track what are called key performance indicators, or KPIs. We're talking about things like market share, revenue growth, profit margins. These aren't just boring numbers on a spreadsheet. They are your scorecard. They're what tells you if your grand strategy is actually working or not. So, we've covered a lot. After all of this, what's the one key takeaway? What's the one thing you absolutely have to remember?
It really all comes down to this one central question. See, there is no single best way to go global. There's no magic bullet. The only thing that truly matters is finding the optimal balance for your business with your goals. Think of it like a strategic puzzle, and your job is to find the perfect alignment between speed, control, investment, and risk. So now you have the tools, you know the options, and you've got the framework to make the decision. The only question left is the one that only you can answer. What does that perfect balance look like for your business, right here, right now? You figure that out, you get that right, and you're ready to go take on the world.